I'm Charles, the product developer of the new amazing OxyGreen Blaster and bedbug destruct system. And folks, you may not be familiar with me or my background, but over the years I've written several books and become a guru in the fields of basement waterproofing, structural repair, mold remediation, and the design and development of new ozone-based technologies for use in the real world. And several years ago I was approached by a wealthy property management company in our area to discover if I could invent a machine capable of killing bed bugs utilizing ozone gas. And so because I have this background in developing better systems for other contractor industries, I decided that a machine alone based approach, while being excellent, is still not enough if the end goal is 100% one application eradication. And so I set out with the end goal of developing exactly that, a system that could be employed by one technician in the field to completely eradicate bed bugs in just one application, using a minimum of man hours. And I knew this was going to be more than something that just a single machine could accomplish. So what I did is I started by studying the existing systems that are available for the world of pest control and property management in order to eradicate bed bugs. So there are four basic, widely used and understood systems today in the world of bed bugs for eradication. And then there's the fifth system, the one that I developed over 2 years ago, that we've been beta testing in the real world for the last 2 years, that is absolutely proven effective nearly 100% of the time. So today what we're going to talk about in this video is the problems that are associated with the other basic systems. So we have four basic systems. We've got chemicals, we've got steam and vacuuming, we've got freezing, or cryo, we'll call it. And then we've got what everyone has come to understand in the industry is the most effective, heat. And today I'll break down for you why that really is not true. So the first basic system we have is chemical treatment. And you know, as a pest control operator, property manager, your first line of defense is typically to go get out the sprayer and apply some chemicals and some possibly toxic dust. And we've discovered that there have been many, many problems related to this approach when it comes to the lowly bed bug. Now folks, I'm sure if you're in the world of pest control, you'll agree, killing a bed bug isn't that difficult if you can just get your product on the back of the bug. Unfortunately, that is what does prove difficult. So with the chemical approach, one of the biggest problems that is evident is you can only get about 50% colony reduction per application. And that 50% reduction is a guarantee that you're going to have to come back over and over again. And folks, the real benefit of the bed bug job to the world of the pest control operator isn't that we're killing this blood-sucking pest, it's that we can get paid a large chunk of money for a one application service that just doesn't exist for anything else other than possibly termites in our world. And so the real problem with this 50% application kill is when you're building up multiple treatments, you're layering a poison in the customer's home. Now, even though these chemicals may be label approved, and I'm sure that we're all applying them in a safe fashion, there haven't been a whole lot of long-term impact studies to the residual effect that sometimes happens with these chemicals, where they can actually accumulate inside the body, and also the accumulative effect of bed bug resistance to these types of chemicals. So we've got the pyrethins and pyrethoids, we've got the growth regulators, and a whole slew of new approaches based on chemicals alone. Unfortunately, in discussing this with pest control operators and property managers from all over the world, it really doesn't seem as if any one-shot chemical has yet been developed. The ones that have been developed have been banned for too long and are unlikely to come back. So safer, more green approaches have been developed. That's where the steam and vacuuming technique comes in. They call it dry steam. But folks, that is a misnomer. I'm sure you have never met dry water. And the real problem with the dry steam vacuuming process, I don't know if you've tried this, but you can't just take a steam wand and hit a bug with it and kill it. That bug doesn't want to stay there and get roasted, so it's going to start moving. So this is a very labor-intensive process where they have to put cloths down to capture the bug, hold the steam in place, and then try and find all the little nooks and crannies and crevices where the eggs have been laid in order to be effective one time. Now, I have talked to some guys that claim that they're getting real good results with the dry steam, quote unquote, wet steam and vacuuming process. The real problem is it is labor intensive. And it's really unlikely that you're going to be getting one-time 100% efficacy out of the dry steam and vacuuming process. So many years ago, another scheme came along for utilizing freezing or cryogenics in order to freeze the bed bugs and their eggs. And there's the same problem. Yeah, sure, you can freeze a bed bug and the egg. You take that thing down to near absolute zero with liquid nitrogen, and you will get mortality of the bug. But just like with the chemicals, just like with the steam, you can't just hit a bug with that freezing cold and not have it be blown across the room. So you've got to hold the things in place, freeze them, and every time you're dealing with steam or with freezing, you're dealing with something else called incidental dew point generation. And that means when you've got a hot air mass meeting a cold surface, or a hot steam mass meeting a cold surface, you're going to have dew point based condensation. And that dew point based condensation means moisture. Moisture means water, and water means microbial contamination. So you run the risk, using either steam or freezing, of secondary biological infestations utilizing bacteria and viruses principally, as well as, of course, the dreaded mold, because mold and mold spores love moisture. So can you freeze a bug and freeze an egg and get mortality? Absolutely. Can you do it in a low-cost, labor, non-intensive fashion? Absolutely not. So, folks, the next and the last thing, this is considered to be, in modern pest control circles, the panacea. Heat. Raise that structure to between 125 and 150 degrees and keep it there for hours. The goal, they say, is 3 to 4 hours, but in real life, to get the entire structure to these levels takes often 6, 10, 12, 14, 16, sometimes even as many as 21 hours. And during the heat process, heat is very, very dangerous because of the delaminating effect that occurs with modern household goods, what I like to call the sawdust, stickers, and glue aspect to our furniture today, and because of its ability to bring things to such high temperatures, you're actually risking fires. So the reason why heat is the go-to is if you really do put in the time and the labor. On average, it takes 2 techs anywhere from 8, 10, 12, 14 hours on average, with extreme jobs taking as many as 20 to 21 hours. Now folks, we have several reformed heat users that are now using our amazing OxyGreen Blaster and bedbug destruct system to get rid of the bed bugs, but the great news is they're doing it with just 1 tech in about an hour and a half. So how does heat work? Well, they have to bring in the heaters, and most of the heat systems are really designed to actually force the bed bugs to the perimeter. Because if you just start pumping heat into the center of a living space, you're going to start jacking the heat of that space up, but around the edge where it's colder, the bed bugs start to migrate. So I even have a reformed heat user who was the best heat guy in the state of Oklahoma. His record job was 22 hours of he and a man sitting in the truck and going in every hour and turning over all the household contents to eliminate the cold pockets. Because folks, you don't just have to get the air to 140 degrees for 3 hours. You've got to get the contents themselves to that temperature. And folks, it really just isn't easy. It takes a lot of labor. And this is why guys are getting big bucks to do this. The heat systems cost between $20,000 and $150,000. When they're not killing bed bugs, they're just real expensive heaters. And the real fact of the matter is the labor. It's the labor that is so intensive in the heat system, not to mention the energy that's required. Some of these systems require you to actually bring your own pull-behind generator to generate the massive amounts of electricity or massive amounts of fuel that are needed if it's a propane system to get to the temperatures required to get that mortality. And so in almost all of these, the steaming, the freezing, and the heat system, there's a follow-up treatment by the chemical poisons. So we've got what I call the gimmick and then the reliance on the chemical. So folks, the real problem with these systems is they are very labor intensive. They all rely on subsequent chemical treatments. The freezing and the steam offer issues where you're dealing with secondary microbial infestations. And the heat system, which is the best system that had been developed up until I created my system, still is labor intensive. It's very dangerous, and there's a huge learning curve in learning just exactly what has to be removed from that structure prior to doing the heat system if you don't want to cause things to get damaged by all that hot air. And so what I did is I created a new system that's completely different. A system that can be set up with 1 tech. It takes about a man-hour and a half to 2 man-hours to fully complete the project. And you're not just killing the bugs, you're killing all the viruses, all the bacteria, all the mold spores. You're absolutely destroying the odors. And you're doing it in a system that's been field proven for the last 2 years. And recently, just recently, Purdue University just did a study that absolutely proves what I've been saying. High concentration, short duration ozone gas treatments create 100% efficacy in bedbug mortality in just 1 application. So folks, this is the first of a series of videos you'll be getting in your email that explains our exciting new system. Take the time out of your day, they're about 10 minutes each, watch our videos and learn how you can start bringing in the big bucks, like the big boy heat guys, but yet it's simple enough that 1 technician can do the setup, 1 technician can do the breakdown, and during the middle of the day, unlike all these other systems, our system works on its own. So you're setting up the equipment in the morning, Your tech goes on about his day, doing the rest of his inspections and treatments, and only returns in the afternoon or the evening to do the final wrap-up of the system. It's the holy grail of the bedbug, one tech, 100% efficacy, 100% eradication that we've all been looking for. We created it, we proofed it in the field, it's been proven in the laboratory by independent universities, and it's time you start making some of the big bugs that are available with bedbugs. And in some of our subsequent videos, we'll teach you how you can apply the same equipment to generating new ongoing revenue streams for your business. We look forward to seeing you again.